G'day there everyone, Uncle Jojo, great to see you again. Today on All Things Trade, we've got for you a special treat called a plunge saw, and it's made by Festool. If you don't know Festool, Festool are a European company, German. They make amazing tools. A plunge saw is a saw that is exactly that. It's made for plunging into material. I've had one of these for about 10 years. It's a much older saw, so this is the new fandangle one with all the bells and whistles, and I've used mine across the board for a huge variety of different things. Today we're going to cut some paneling for an external wall, and I'm going to show you exactly that. There's two main components to the saw. There's obviously the saw itself, and there is also a straight edge. Now the straight edge has a couple of grooves in it, and the saw itself, and then it sits inside those grooves and it follows that groove all the way through as it cuts. I'll show you a saw cut in about 2 seconds. This is a short straight edge. It's two 1400s and I can join them together with a joining piece, or I can get longer straight edges, which is a 2.4, and there's a few other lengths. But because of the transportation of the straight edge and trying to keep it nice and protected, making sure that I don't dint it, etc., I put it in my toolboxes in the car and I can bring it with me everywhere. If I have a longer straight edge, it would suit something like the high ace van that I've done a review on before, where you have somewhere to put the straight edge that keeps it protected the whole time. The next thing we look at is the saw itself. So the saw itself, it has a release button and the saw blade moves down. It also has a depth gauge, so I can just push this in and I can slide it down and it'll stop wherever I need it to. So if it's a 40mm depth cut, then I put it down to 40mm, release it, and then I can push it down and it cuts 40mm. If I only want to cut 10mm, then I push this all the way up to 10, release it, and it goes all the way down. Please make sure that when you're doing stuff like that and you're checking it out, that you keep your saw unplugged. Never have your saw plugged in. The other thing that is unreal with this is that you can change the angle very easily. You just release it there and then you're able to push this out to 45 degrees if you want to, and you can do a perfect 45 mitre. We've used these on a number of jobs where we've had an architectural project. We had to do a nice bench cut that's on a 45 and join two 45 mitres together, and with this it made easy work of something that was super hard to do. Stay tuned. I'm just going to show you how we align both the straight edges. So we've got a really nice straight edge and we tighten them off together and we do a cut to suit where we're going to. To hold the bracket in place, I just tweak one of these little grub screws. I can just undo it by hand and then I can move it. It's safe to say that you keep two grub screws on the left hand side and just hand tighten those. Flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Now that will slide in. And then we put our level on the back and just make sure that there's a nice even line all the way through on the back here. And we tighten that up. Flip it over. Double check. Nice even line. The main thing that we're checking for in here is that we can't see any light through that. You'll notice on the back of this straight edge that we've got this tape. This tape is a non-slip tape. It's fantastic. It sits on the material that we're cutting and the straight edge doesn't move. It stays in place. So next thing that we'll do is we'll do our measurement. We'll put this on those measurements. We can even flick a line and keep this straight edge, or the front of the straight edge, on that line, and then we can plunge our saw and cut all the way through. Now, because our material is only 12mm thick, we'll adjust our depth gauge to be 12mm plus the thickness of the straight edge, which is 5. So that way we're going to be cutting just below the surface and getting a nice pristine cut. Another amazing feature of the saw is that we can attach our vacuum straight to the side of it. So if we're cutting indoors or we're cutting material that we don't want the dust to go everywhere, we're able to attach our vacuum straight to it, and as soon as we hit the trigger, the vacuum starts up and takes in any of that sawdust, and so then we don't have too much of a mess left around in the area that we're working, or we don't breathe in any of that dust, which is even more important. The best thing about this saw is you can cut so many different things with this. You can do wall cladding, you can do doors, you can do floors. All you need is the straight edge and the saw, and you will get a perfect straight cut every time. Unreal system, super light, super convenient, and great to use. Comes with a great case, portability, it fits in everywhere nicely. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that we could make it a little bit better is to make the case just a little bit smaller, so it could fit in toolboxes in the back of utes or in the back seat or something like that. For cost, you're looking at about $1,000, $1,100 for this Festool saw. For the cost of it, the convenience of it and everything else, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 nails. And usability, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. That's right, a 10 out of 10 nails. They have nailed this one. So a total score of 9.5 nails out of 10. They nailed it, Festool, on this plunge saw. It is one of the best saws I've ever used. Again, I've used one of these saws for over the last 10 years, and it is unreal. Super good, awesome to use on site. The only thing that I've seen that comes close to it is the Makita plunge saw. They've only brought that out recently in the last 2 years that we've seen in Australia, and I haven't used one yet, so I can't compare apples to apples. All I can do is show you this one. This one is awesome town to use. Thanks for watching. Any questions or queries regarding that or any other tools that you want me to review, please flick it over. I'll have a look at it for you. Thanks for watching, and like always, stay unreal, banana peel, and I'll see you on the next one.